When you open up your CATIA and you go to your compass and open up the 3D, it may feel like you have an infinite amount of workbenches here to learn. How are you going to learn all this? You're not going to be able to memorize all this. Where can you go find information on a need-to-know basis? Inside your on your online documentation, you don't even have to have CATIA, and you can find some helpful tips that work on 3D experience as well as CATIA V5. By simply going to a search online and finding CATIA V5 documentation, you'll find we have a list of solutions. And as you go through each solution, you notice different user guides come up, or what I would call a book. Each user guide represents one of the workbenches. For example, part design is right here on top because it's one of the most common books people reference. Infrastructure is basically the infrastructure of the whole system. Things you can do whether you're in one workbench or another or multiple workbenches is like zooming in and out and panning, working with the specification tree, and all that kind of stuff will be under infrastructure. If you want to make a part, you go to mechanical design, and that would go to part. If you want to make a sketch, down here this one's called the sketch. So you don't have to memorize what these icons are. If you put your cursor on them and wait a second, it will tell you what book or what user guide you're looking at. So we're going to go over in this course some of these books, and in the entire program we go over several of the books by going through several of these solutions. So again, all you have to do is click on one of these solutions. I use my middle button so I can keep this up, but just go through the list here. We have the infrastructure book we're going to cover in the first class and throughout the program. And throughout the program we use Sketcher for sure and part design. So you take a sketch, a 2D profile, and use that profile to make a solid entity by extruding it or pocketing or some type of feature within the part design workbench. Once you have two parts and you put it into one model, that becomes an assembly. So once a plate is bolted onto something or you got a press foot bushing, you instantly have an assembly because there's more than one part. Unless they're being welded together, in which case if it's a weldment or two parts welded together, it's called a weldment. So we'll show you how to make drawings of the detail parts, assemblies, the weldments and such. And that's kind of the main things, as well as wireframe and surfacing, which is really the #1 reason anyone would buy a CAD software like CATIA or the 3D Experience, because of its wireframe and surfacing package. In fact, they have a more advanced workbench. Generative shape design is just a wireframe and surface workbench on steroids. It just does the same thing and a lot more. Throughout the program, we teach other stuff like structural analysis. So you may recall when I said to open up a part, if you click on this, it just gives you the start of the book and you can read right on down page for page. Or you can just find something that you're interested in and click on that hyperlink. So we do stress analysis, we do electrical wiring, we do piping, we do tubing, we have prismatic machining, that's NC programming. So not the CNC machine operator who loads the material, we are the NC programmers who create the tool paths to machine the parts on 3-axis and 5-axis or multiple axis systems. So we also use KnowledgeWare. As far as I'm concerned, if you don't know how to do KnowledgeWare, you don't even know how to use CATIA yet. So you should go through at least the ENGT 195, 196 classes to say you're competent on CATIA, and I would highly recommend the tool design class where you learn how to deal with the product structure and how to create a tool fixture to hold engineering parts in place so that they can be machined or riveted together or welded together or whatever. Okay, so again, under the CATIA, by doing the online search, I picked out release 19, and then you could go find whatever book you're looking for. So So I don't see composites here. I was going to find that composites book, but let's say we're going to do a molding tool. So we do the tooling class. If I click on this, it opens it up and it comes up with the molding tool. And if you hit this sitemap on top, you can hit overview to see what that uh, workbench is about, what you would possibly be learning. Again, this will be on 3D Experience as well as the V5.